Welcome to In Conversation With, and today's guest is the multi-talented actress, author and drama teacher, Melanie Firth. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you so much. That's a lovely introduction. I love that.
It's all true. It's all true. Well, thank you for coming on our podcast, In Conversation With.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
No problem. So, obviously, I know you very well, and in the nicest possible way, I can call you a very old friend.
Yes.
Because our friendship journey started when we were probably, 16, 17, 18, something like that?
Yeah, 16. Yeah, we met when we were 16 years old.
Wow. How times have changed.
I know.
But yeah, and I think we can certainly say we have one of them friendships that we may not see each other for 20 years, but the minute we do, things are always back to how they were when we were bright-eyed and innocent in them early teen days.
It's so true, isn't it? We met in our theatre college days, and I still feel that some of my friends, you and the group of the circle that we were in at that time, are some of my most precious, dearest friends still. And I think it's because of that fact that we were bonded through theatre, and performing. And I just think that love has always held us together, hasn't it?
It has, and I think you make connections with people in life, and people come in your life for a reason, and they either stay or they don't. But I think with that group, certainly with me and you anyway, that we have stuck. So yeah, it's great that, again, we don't have to see each other for years and years, but when we do, nothing's changed.
It hasn't. Not at all, my love.
We're still that Disney prince and princess that we thought we were when we were 16.
Yeah, we're still thinking we're cool for stealing a sweet and sending it up in a lift.
No, we're probably not as down with the kids as we thought we were back then, but
no.
So let's have a little chat then, really. Obviously, you came into LS really in the early days, the infancy of LS, and you did a couple of one-nighters for us and that, didn't you? Way back when.
Yes, I did. I played one of my dream roles in that first LS production, Lee, which was Glinda in Wicked. Do you remember that?
I do. It was a part made for you.
Yeah, that really is a dream role, isn't it? And I've always been devastated that during my time in theatre anyway, that they never released the full license for the show. So I've done her as excerpts many times, with you included, but I'm sure they'll do it one day.
I reckon the minute it's released, I'll be on the phone, I'll be booking you in. Get your sparkly crown ready.
So how long ago was that then? When would that first year have been?
This is our 12th year this year. So if you can do the maths, because I'm terrible, we started in 2008. So
right.
It's been 2008, 2009, maybe into 2010, I'm not sure. 10 was actually when we did Kes.
Oh, of course we did, yes.
We did the 40th anniversary of Kes, which you helped with. And both you and myself managed to handle about 40-odd untrained Barnsley kids.
Yes, we did, didn't we? What an achievement.
I know, we certainly unearthed some talent there, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Again, a great production to be involved in. We, like I say, it was the 40th anniversary. And, I think, again, another magical experience. That there was something really magic about that production. It was special, I think.
It was, yeah. It certainly goes down as one of my big memories in what we've done, yeah.
And then I think that was sort of where we left you a little bit, didn't you? Because you went into teaching. Obviously, now you teach at a performing arts school in Barnsley.
Yeah, that's it really. I think my passion for passing on that kind of love of theatre to young people and instilling that in them really took over. And like yourself as well, I went more into directing and putting on productions, but obviously for me in my role within the school. Yeah. I mean, I still kept my hand in performing myself, because you can't not, but it very much more became in a directorial role within the school.
I can't think of anyone more perfect to be a teacher than you, because you are so passionate about theatre and the arts that, to me, that's what a teacher needs.
Yeah, do you know, I mean, we might get on to talking about the state that things are in at the moment, but I just feel that within my role as a teacher, throughout the past decade, I've constantly had to kind of fight and justify for the worth of the place of the arts in the curriculum. Because depending on what government's in charge at various times, it just changes so quickly in education, you know, as to whether we deserve our place there. And so I've become so super well versed now in presenting this speech to management on why young people, you know, need to be taught about theatre and film and music and literature, and why they die without it. So it really needs people who feel passionate like that in education, or we really would be, you know, striving to keep it in schools at the moment. We really would.
No, I agree. I think the world would be a really sorry place if we didn't have the arts. I think they bring so much light into the world that to lose that would be just soul destroying. It would be, I can't imagine a world without the arts. It just...
Well, no, I mean, historically, what we know since the dawn of man is that there's never existed a time, has there, that human beings have not been telling each other stories and entertaining each other. It's the oldest convention of any culture, and we need it to survive in this crazy world, don't we?
I agree. And what better place to do that is in schools, really. Get the kids while they're young, get them educated on theatre and the arts and literature and music, and hopefully that some of them find the passion for it that we found at an early age, and they run with it, and they keep this industry going for many more years to come.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me and you, I'm sure you're like me in that when you're a performing artist person, you're kind of born into that way of thinking and that world, aren't you? I certainly can't ever remember a time that I wasn't wanting to put on a show to my family and friends and forcing them to sit down as an audience and watch me sing and dance. And then you get involved in things from a young age, school assemblies, school concerts and plays, and then I just think you feel then, don't you, that you have no other choice but to go down that route.
I do think it's like a calling. I know people said they get the calling from God to join a nunnery, but I certainly got a calling from the theatre gods to say, right, this is your destiny, this is your path. And
I love that. Yeah,
but many times I've nearly veered off that path, but I've always been drawn back on it. So that's why I think it's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think my mum saw that too, because she was the one who from a young age started sending me to stage schools and places. I first started out at Sheffield Youth Theatre when I was about 10 years old, and we performed mainly classical texts and Shakespeare there, but we were based at Sheffield Crucible and Lyceum Theatres, which, as you know, are just stunning, beautiful theatre buildings. Oh. And that was just a catalyst then. I knew from performing these incredible works and characters in buildings like this that I could just never do anything else with my life then. That's where I was happiest. It's where I felt I belonged. And 30 years on, that feeling's never, ever changed.
Isn't it strange as well that we put ourselves on stage and put our heads above the parapet? And it is such, from the outside, it looks such a dangerous place on the stage. But to me, it's the safest place. I feel at home there.
Yes.
I feel indestructible when I'm on stage.
Me too. Isn't there just something about you step out onto that stage? It's that feeling of your costume on your body, the smell of the theatrical makeup, the heat of the lights on your skin, the way your voice sounds echoing through the microphones and the speakers, and you're part of something magical, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it's addictive, isn't it? I think that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there, obviously, about joining youth theatres and doing early productions. Can you remember one of the early productions that we did together in Sheffield, Fame?
Oh, yes. One of my most favourites. I can.
Oh, it was so good. Didn't we just rock up to an audition not knowing anyone?
You and me were just brimming with confidence. And do you know, I wish that now at this age, I had that arrogance and that confidence that you just have when you're younger and you don't question it, do you? No. You and me were nobody. We knew nobody in Sheffield in this circle of of people, did we? Were putting this on, and we just rocked up, and we were like, here we are, we want to be in this play.
Give us a part.
Yeah, and then we kind of just took over.
We did, and we got the parts we wanted. So you played Serena Katz, and I played Shlomo Meltzelbaum.
Yeah.
Two great fab parts.
Yeah, one of my most favourite roles. I've played that. What a wonderful part that was.
Can you remember as well? I always describe us as Disney prince and princesses because we always used to be skipping through the streets singing. And when we were rehearsing for Fame, we were rehearsing in one of the roughest areas of Sheffield, weren't we? The Manor.
Yeah, we were. I know it's so funny because my mum and stepdad always talk about this, that they have this memory, this image of me and you. They said, and we used to make sure that we walked, a good pace behind you whenever we were anywhere, because you and Lee always used to just skip along arm in arm singing musical songs, and we were just so embarrassed to be with you.
No, we just thought we were in his own world.
I know.
I just remember us coming out of that rehearsal room in Sheffield at 10 o'clock at night and walking through the roughest area back to the bus station with our Fame script under one arm and humming one of the songs that we learned that night.
Yeah, hooded vagabonds, like with knives in their pockets, dealing drugs on street corners, and we were skipping along singing Fame.
Unaware of the dangers that we were in.
Yeah.
I think the main thing was, can you remember that chip shop as well we used to get to and get a...
And you would always enter as a different character every time.
Yeah, that's when I could do accents all right. I'm terrible at them now. Yes, we've had some great memories there.
Yeah, we have.
One thing I do want to touch upon as well is when we were at college, can you remember the theatre exchange to Los Angeles?
Oh my goodness, yes.
What an experience.
Yeah, and because we kind of had two sides to that, didn't we? There was the theatre side where we were just literally chucked in the very night before, weren't we? Given a script, a massive script. I hasten to add, my part was like the biggest. It was ridiculous what I was asked to do. I'm sure all you had to do were put on some fairy ears and grunt a bit. But I had like pages of scripts that they gave me the night before, and we were told, right, you're going on stage tomorrow in LA. Off you go.
I just remember seeing you come back into the rehearsal room dressed as an owl. Looking a bit sad in your eyes because you've missed us all.
I know. This is the thing with me, is I always want to play all the, the glamorous, the beautiful princess parts, and then someone goes and sticks me in a big feathery owl costume.
I know.
So there was that side of it, but then there was obviously the side where we just got to see like the real world of Los Angeles and all the amazing places. What a dream holiday, dream experience that was.
And we were there for one of our favourite times of the year, Halloween. Incredible. Halloween.
Oh yeah, the rooftop Halloween party that we had. Amazing.
And one memory does stick out to me is it was in an open-top Jeep going down the highway with the ocean to the left and the mountains to the right. And I can never get that image out of my head. It was just like something like Sweet Valley High.
Oh, yeah. And from there, I mean, that was the first time I'd visited LA with you. But from there, that just instilled within me a lifelong passion for that part of the world. I've been back so many times since, and it really just is, they say you feel like you've got a spiritual home. That is mine. I would, if ever I have the money, I would certainly get myself a holiday home out there so I could visit often.
You could sit there writing and looking out at the ocean.
Yes, that would be beautiful.
The dream. Mentioning writing, I don't know if some of our listeners do know, but Melanie is a very, very successful, put my teeth back in, successful, there we go, author. Can you tell us a little bit about your books, Mel?
Yeah, so the thing with writing, for me, I've never really separated that part of me from being a performer, because I think that urge to create stories and characters and situations, it's the same as being an actor, isn't it? So I've always wrote just as much as I've always performed. So as far back as I can remember, I've created stories and songs and poetry. But I very vividly remember the night, you know, that I decided I wanted to do more about it than it just be for me. It was actually when the final Harry Potter book came out, you know, because I've always been a massive Harry Potter fan and
Yeah,
loved
me too.
reading those. And I remember the night I went and queued up and got my final installation of Harry Potter when she released that last book. And I read it literally within a couple of days. And I felt lost, you know, at the end of that. I thought, oh gosh, I've loved these books for so long and that's it now. And I feel a bit empty and a bit sad about it. And I just kind of felt that rather than waiting around for somebody else to create something for me to read, that it was time to, you know, really immerse myself in creating something myself. And I've got lots of bits about the fairy tales that I'd created over the years. But I just remember that being the pivotal point where I thought, right, you know what, now I'm actually going to do something about this, and I'm going to start looking into what it entails bringing this to life in terms of publication and for other people. So that was it, really. It all started from there.
How long was that journey then, from that initial idea to getting a publishing deal and then getting your book, obviously, to print? Was that a long period of time, or?
Yeah, quite. Do you know, I think I had a whole year, Lee, where I just wanted to research what that world was, you know, the world of publishing. I just did loads of research in looking into what's out there in terms of agents and publishers and what different routes there are, because as lovely as it is to get taken on by one of the big powerhouse publishers, that very rarely happens for most people. And so there are many different routes: independent, smaller publishers and online publishing. And there's loads of books and websites out there. And I think I spent a whole year just researching and making contacts, speaking to people in the business, first of all. And I really enjoyed that, you know. I didn't see that as you know, being impatient that year to get going. I just really enjoyed learning about the world of literature and books and how it all works. I enjoyed that bit as much as writing. And through that, I made a really good relationship with Silverwood Books, who are my publishers now. And they're just a really small independent publishing company based in Bristol. You know, I think one of the clinches for the deal was how much I loved Bristol when I went down there to meet them. Have you ever been to Bristol?
Yeah, well, I was a Blue Coat in Somerset.
Right.
For a summer season. So yeah, Bristol was sort of our nearest city, I suppose. So yeah, lovely.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it's got such a good vibe down there. It's quite cosmopolitan in places, and I just found quite a hip place, but with some really lovely old parts to it as well. And I loved the feel down there, and I loved the people based at this small publishers. And do you know, I liken it to being in a band where you've got a manager who's controlling and tells you, you know, that these are the songs your band have got to sing and this is how you've got to dress. And I think as wonderful as it would be to be taken on by one of the big power publishers, they then take a lot of control out of your hands regarding your book. They can change it completely. Yeah. Whereas if you go for a smaller based independent publishing company, everything is still very much in your hands, and Silverwood still let me have total control over everything that I put out, and I make the decisions on everything. So I don't regret making that choice of in the end going with a smaller company, and it's worked out beautifully. And I'm on book 3 at the moment. Well, 3 books have been published out of the 6. I've just finished book 4, but that's not gone to the publishers yet. But certainly for all 6 books, I intend to stick with them, and it's worked beautifully.
Oh, good! It's exciting. Well, I've actually ordered 3 of the books, and they arrived the other day, so I can't wait to certainly read them. I love fairy tales, as you know, so I am looking forward to delving into them.
Yeah, thank you. When I set out writing them, I think because I'm a teacher of 11 to 16-year-olds, that was always the age I'd got in my mind that they were intended for. But to be honest, I was talking about this in some interviews I did about my books the other day, saying that I think nowadays, you know, with so much popularity of Harry Potter and Twilight and the Hunger Games and all those type of books, that we've moved away, haven't we, from categorizing children's literature as
I
solely
think
for
so.
children. I think adults equally enjoy that kind of teen fiction now, and I don't really tend to say anymore that they're children's books. I hope that everybody could enjoy them.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're all a big kid inside. We all want escapism, and if that means reading a book that isn't necessarily about the Da Vinci Code or World War
Yeah,
II, then that's fine. You can. There should be no stigma about. You can read whatever you want to read. Reading feeds the soul. So to me, read whatever you choose to read.
yeah, yeah.
And they are beautiful books as well. Like the illustration that is stunning, the front cover.
Yeah, that was so important, because we do judge a book by its cover, unfortunately, don't we? And I do think that when the book world is just so oversaturated, there's millions upon millions of books out there, it's got to be beautiful, I think, to make somebody pick it up off a bookshelf. So it was really important to me, the kind of marketing behind the presentation of them. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the girl that does my illustrations and covers for me. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful book. I'm certainly going to be sharing them with my many nieces over the years to come.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think they'll fall in love with the books. But in regards to the books, how long then does it take you from sort of initial idea to writing the last chapter? How long? I'm fascinated by it. It's
Yeah, you know, I have found exactly a year, and it seems funny to be able to label it like that, but it actually is. It takes me a year, because for all three books, that is the exact time process. So in terms of this being a series, I've always kind of had it mapped out. I start, because even though each book is a story in its own right, it is one long continuous story from book 1 to 6 as well. So I'd kind of mapped out the journey and where everything was heading. So I'd always had a skeleton plan. But to take the skeleton plan for each book and actually sit down and start fleshing it out with the real writing, and then sending your first draft to the publisher and it coming back and you're working on second and third and fourth drafts, it is exactly a year. So a year per book. That's the plan from now on. So book 3 has just come out. So my plan is that this time next year, next Christmas 2021, that would be book 4. And so on through to the end now.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Now, this is not me pitching for a cameo in any future books, but when you write, do you take anything from your real life experiences or people you've met or yourself? Do you ever put any of that into the books?
Yes, you can't not do, can you? I'm always aware, you know, in every fictional book, there's a statement at the start that you have to put in that says, you know, this is a work of fiction and it is no way based on any real people, either living or dead. You have to put that in. But you can't be a writer or a performer, an actor, without embodying your life experiences, can you? There's always a bit of Stanislavski in there. You've got to draw on the magic if. So, yeah, my books are full of characters that are based on people that I know and people that I love and people that have wronged me. In fact, I put a quote on my Instagram the other day. I don't know if you saw it, my writing Instagram that said, "Be careful what you say or do around me because you may just end up in my book."
I saw that. That was a great quote.
Yeah.
Well, be very careful. Do not cross Melanie. You may end up in a future book. So do you want to, I know you mentioned Christmas there, which I think these books would be a perfect Christmas present to all our listeners. So can you just let people know where they can get a copy of the books?
Yes, absolutely. So the primary sales is Amazon. So Amazon have actually kind of got the first rights to selling the book because they actually are the printers too. So I don't know if you know how it works. I certainly didn't. That different printers kind of are in charge of the sales of the book, and Amazon as a company are actually in charge of the printing of my book. So they're kind of like my number one sales point. So you can go to Amazon.co.uk fairytales.co.uk, but I do have my own website sales as well. And the reason for that is because a lot of people like me to sign them and write a personal message in them. And obviously if it is coming straight from Amazon, I can't do that. So if you would like it personally signed a message, then you can go to my website, which is www.thefairytales.co.uk, and you can purchase directly through PayPal there and leave a message as to what you would like me to sign. Normally, in terms of stocking in bookshops, usually local bookshops, Waterstones, Foyles usually stock it, but it's just obviously the situation in the world at the minute. I've not been able to get into those places, and you would normally have a meeting and they would stock your books. So eventually I'm hoping it will be available to purchase at actual local bookshops, but that's just on hold at the moment, so it's all online for now.
Amazing. Well, there you go, listeners. If you want to get yourself or your children an amazing book this Christmas, then definitely check out the Fairy Tales by Melanie J. Firth. And there's 3 books, like you said, Mel.
Yep, 3 out and 1 coming next year. Yep.
Exciting. So let's jump ahead then. Let's think of J.K. Rowling and getting you a film deal. How would you feel about something like that?
That is got to be the ultimate, hasn't it?
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, on my manifestation list, Lee, is a Kensington apartment and a Calabasas mansion. So in order to achieve those, I see my books as being the most likely route to get me there. And when I'm writing them, as I'm writing the stories, I'm always thinking in my head, what does this look like as a film, as a TV program, or on a stage? So yeah, that's got to be.
I think that's a great way to write as well, because you're making the job easier for a producer there.
Of course, yeah.
If you're jumping off the page as a film script already, then you're already one step ahead.
Yeah. So, and do you know, I have to get this point across. It's a poor life being a writer because you make so little per copy of the books, So just to give you an idea, my books are £10 to buy, and out of that £10, do you know that I get something like £1.56? Because
crazy.
Obviously, yeah. So you talk about somebody like J.K. Rowling. Obviously, you have to sell millions of copies of your book to make £1 million.
Yeah.
The amount that you have to sell to make a living out of it is crazy.
Yeah, probably a lot of people don't realise that.
They don't. I really don't think they do. So the way to make the money is for the book to then take on another life of its own, like the Harry Potter books did with films and then merchandise, franchising. That's where you start to make your big money, isn't it?
So if say a big Hollywood producer came forward and said, right, we want to make a movie out of book 3, say the Fairy Tale of Aquamarine. Who would be your dream casting to play Aquamarine?
Oh wow, that's an amazing question. See, I suppose it's the boy characters that I've always got clearer in my mind, because I always, in my thank yous at the start of the book, thank Zac Efron, Samuel Preston and Christian Cook. Always, because those 3 are my go-to faces that I see when I think of my 3 male characters. So I have to thank them because they've always been my faces that I've based everything on. So they're already cast, they're sorted. But the problem as female characters, when you're a female performer yourself, is you don't think of anyone else but yourself. I'd be like, move out of the way, baby. This is my role.
So I think you've answered your own question there. That it's going to be Melanie Firth on the billboard.
Yeah, that's it. Starring alongside Zac Efron, and I'll be one happy lady.
That's it. keep that positivity, because you never know. You never know.
Definitely.
So
I'll tell you what.
Sorry,
there's this terrible thing called age, isn't there? And I don't know you, but you can't stop it, can you? You just wake up and every day you're another day older. And I'm starting to gradually have to realise that some of my dream roles in theatre, I'm getting a little bit old to play now, and I'm having to think of new older roles, and I don't like that one bit.
Oh, it's the inevitable, isn't it? It's every day creeping older and older.
Yeah.
But do you still have a career bucket list then? Maybe not necessarily to do with the writing, but you as a performer or a teacher, is there something on your career bucket list that you want to do or want to achieve? Or
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I've just said about my writing, I'm very much focused on my writing goals now, and a lot of my bucket list is around what I want to do with my books, thinking ahead. But I still always want to perform myself as well. So my new two roles that I've decided are suitable for a lady my age now are Anna in The King and I and Mrs. Johnston in Blood Brothers. They're
two great parts.
two great parts for older ladies that I would still really love to play. Yeah,
I think we'll call it mature ladies. It sounds like
mature lady. Yes.
you get better with age, so you know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the ultimate at the end of that bucket list is that Calabasas mansion. So we've got to head that way.
It'll happen.
Yes.
It'll happen. So obviously, at the minute, this current situation we're in, theatres have took a real battering, and I guess school productions as well have been put on hold. How do you feel about this entire pandemic that is just sort of obliterating our industry?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you know, I've had days where I've looked at the news about the current situation for the arts, and it absolutely breaks my heart and it's painful to digest. But then there are other days where I've read about how resourceful and clever artists are being, like yourselves at LS Theatre, everything that you've been doing. And then I just beam with pride to see how amazing we are, how we've all pulled together as a family to voice our passion. The overwhelming response to that government advert that came out with the ballerina on, my blood was boiling over that. But then there were so many funny, jokey responses to it that it just made it irrelevant, didn't it? And have you seen the new Amazon Christmas advert with the ballerina?
No, I've not seen it yet.
Have a look for that. That is truly beautiful, and that kind of just sums it all up, really. So I think it's made us so strong as an industry, hasn't it? The way we've pulled together. But yeah, the reality of the situation for me as a drama teacher at the minute is we are not allowed to do any practical work. So my drama studio is currently locked up, and we're in classrooms. It's enabled the students to look at the more creative writing side of it. So we've been writing a lot of plays and devising a lot, but on paper. And my students, bless them, are just itching to get back in the studio and do something practical. But we're keeping going, aren't we? And it will get there.
That's it. I think, like I say, it's been horrendous for the industry, as many industries, but because we're in the arts, we take it a little bit more personal. But
Yes.
we will never be defeated, and I think that light will never be extinguished, will it? We'll always bounce back, the arts, because like you said before, they've been here for all time.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier, that historically there's never been a time without them, has there?
I just never thought in our lifetime, though, I would ever see a time that theatres were forced to close. It's still really surreal to me, that.
It is. It's surreal. It really is.
We will come
for
back.
me in my job, a time that somebody was saying to me, no, you are not allowed to do your job. You've got to lock your classroom up. It's crazy.
Surreal. We will bounce back, though. We will. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, there is.
So you mentioned them two roles that you see as a mature performer that you would like to play. Anna in The King and I, and Mrs. Johnson in Blood Brothers. But is there anything that you would like to play on screen, for example? Is there a role that's already been played on film that you think, God, I wish I'd have been cast as that. I would love to play something like that.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the film version with Anna Kendrick of The Last 5 Years?
Yes.
Oh, that is just my ultimate. I love that film and that role.
Yeah, you'd be perfect as that.
It's absolutely beautiful. Do you know what I think I've realised with theatre? Is the darker, the sadder, the more tragedy, the better for me. I think it's just because things that are so tragic just stay with you and resonate with you on a deeper level, don't they?
Yeah.
And yeah, the more tragic, the better. And that I actually feel with that film that I sometimes just can't watch it because it just makes me so sad. It upsets me so much, but that's what's so powerful about it.
Oh, it's really powerful. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Melanie, I think we're coming to the end of our little chat.
I have loved this.
I've loved it. What a lovely way to spend a Saturday morning on a miserable day.
Yes, I know. I'm just sat in my library now and I'm looking out, and here in Penistone, the rain is just pitter-pattering now on the windows, but I'm so happy to have been talking to you.
No, it's been lovely to chat to you. As ever, we will always have this special bond.
We
Back to
will,
how we were when we were young, carefree and wrinkle-free.
Yes. I hope we can do this chat again when we're 80 and we'll have lots more to talk about.
Well, we'll be chatting about your Oscar win then, I think.
Yes, we'll be in LA by the pool.
Yeah, when you've wrote me in book 17.
Yes.
Yeah, the story of the bog troll. I quite like that. I think I'll be able to play that when I'm 80.
I love that. I'm noting that down.
You can have that one. I want 10% of it though.
Thank you.
Well, like we mentioned, these books are incredible, and I'm really proud of you as a very old friend and a dear friend, but as a local author flying the flag for the talent in Yorkshire. So these books are phenomenal. So if people do want to check them out, go to the website that Melanie mentioned and get ordering these books because they do make incredible presents and they look beautiful on a bookshelf. So there you go. Crack on, everyone. So Melanie, thank you once again for chatting to me this morning.
Thank you. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself, and thank you to everyone for listening.
No, thank you. And you've been the star of In Conversation With.